I was accompanying a group of political activists that were supporting a candidate in District Number 1, which is a very Latino district in Los Angeles. And as I was walking to them, would reach a house, which there was a guy that was gaming, playing online. And he also ended up being a very reflective person, albeit some of his reflections were misguided, and I will argue they were wrong. He was a Trumpist guy. He was under the impression that, in my case, just because I was accompanying a political activist that were, representing a progressive candidate, I was progressive and not lefty, which, in some ways I might be, some ways I might not be, because I don't necessarily agree with everything. I'm kind of an eclectic person when it comes to my political views. And he said that he was pretty much in favor of having ICE descending over communities in Los Angeles, for they have to catch all those bad guys. And for bad guys, he meant people who cross the border illegally. And that he understood to a certain extent, since he was Latino and his parents were from El Salvador, that people needed to immigrate over here, but they have to do it in the right way. And that the country could not possibly receive every single person in the world just because they were in need. And what will we do it? Because he was asking, why don't they do it legally? And I replied to him that under current immigration law or the immigration system, we don't have enough legal avenues to immigrate to the United States. You either are immediate relative to a person in the United States, or you immigrate to the United States thanks to having a job offer, but not everybody was having that good luck. I'm not saying that immigrating illegally is the right way to immigrate to this country. I said, but some people simply, they don't have any other option. There is an imperative of life. Yeah, but we got lost. Yeah, but think about it, I told them. Since the 1980s and 90s, what we have been doing is creating laws and ignoring the reality of the United States, which is that this country needs a certain amount of people so that it can keep prospering by having some group of people graduating for certain jobs, and they aspire to a different type of jobs, and it's not because they are better or not better, but because they have better conditions so that they can put their sight on different horizons. And then some people have to come over and do whatever they were doing or their parents were doing. So there's no way for a lot of people to fill those jobs legally because there are not enough visas to do that. So that's why a lot of people just decide to cross the border, and they still find jobs, and the job indexes, what they show us is that at various times the United States have almost had no unemployment, which means that everybody is employed, pretty much legal, illegal, permanent residents, citizens, or work visa holders. So that means that all these people that illegally cross to the United States, they're working, and that's because there is enough works for them to do. So when people say, oh, they should follow the law, I mean, the law is an artificial invention. Well, I guess that's an oxymoron, right? It's a fictional happening. It's something that they do when lawmakers get together and approve something. They send it to the governor or the president to get it signed, and then it becomes a law. And so we think that it comes natural, but it's not natural. You can artificially create a system in which you help people, or you norm certain things, or you prohibit certain things, or you regulate certain things, or you can actually create a system that allows stuff or disincentivizes some stuff, and that might respond to reality or not. In our case, the current immigration system doesn't, respond to the reality of the United States. So what happened is that you have a lot of people that have the imperative to survive. I mean, once you are coming into this world and they don't live in the United States, well, they still feel entitled to those exceptional ideas of the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those ideas resonate everywhere. Those ideas didn't stay just in the United States and just in the 18th century. It's something that has been resonating since they were uttered. So those people think that they also want a piece of that ideological cake so that they can improve their lives. So what precludes them from actually achieving that, it's a series of artificial legal fictions created by a group of men with good intentions, bad intentions, malicious intentions, dumb intentions, doesn't matter, but it's created that is preventing them from coming to the United States legally. But the necessity is so imperious that you decide to risk your life and come over to the United States, because you have that illusion, because those ideas represent an aspiration and a dream and a possibility. So that's why people come over to the United States. And I think that idea kind of resonated with him, because it was going beyond what we usually hear conservative or liberal commentators, in which they just create absolute narratives. Reality has more nuance. There are lights, there are shadows, there is darkness, and there's a lot of grays in between. And people don't choose to break that immigration law particularly because they are criminals. There is no intention to harm no one, but the opposite. It's actually to improve their life. So that's why those ideas, they still dangerous. Dangerous to the status quo in the United States, the idea that there is a place in which you can thrive, that you can have your life respected, that you can have the liberty to become whoever you want to become, the freedom to own property so that you can prosper economically and you can provide for yourself and your family, and the possibility to pursue your happiness, whatever that is, if it is money, it is knowledge, self-knowledge, individual expression. So that's why no law, bad laws especially, will ever deter people to aspire to the possibility of becoming that they envision to become for themselves.